It happened suddenly in 3 days. We were all at our homes, at our houses in the morning, and the sound of the Taliban speakers woke us up. Everyone was surprised, and Taliban were everywhere in Kabul. They didn't forgive anyone. They killed the people that they found. On day 4 of Taliban, I was called to the Ministry of Culture, now ruled by Taliban. And they were asking people to say sorry for their pasts or seek forgiveness. And if people sought forgiveness, they will not be killed. I was one of them. They wanted me to ask forgiveness for my being a person in media, and for a project I had done with the Vice President Amrullah Saleh's office. I didn't go there. I just escaped. I changed my home. I was a person who worked at the US military from 2014 up to 2019, but my Sai Vitae was refused by the USA embassy in Kabul because I was unfit for services with Americans. It was very bad for me. Like, I worked for the US Army for 6 years and had good jobs and did good jobs for them. I don't know why they refused. It made me unable to go outside of Afghanistan. Then the Taliban came and I had to escape. I had no other option. Because first, if they were not killing me out of signing the form as the form of forgiveness for them, I had nothing to do as a person, as a writer, as a filmmaker. Under the government of the Taliban, it was very hard for me to work, so I had to escape. When I had a chance, there was a German I had helped on a project who asked if I could come to Germany. She was able to process my case for traveling to Germany. So I accept her request and sent mine and my family's required documents. It took another 6 days or 5 days. After 5 days, I got a call from her that I had to go to a particular place in Kabul where there were buses coordinated by German embassy, escorting people out to Kabul airport. Inside and outside Kabul airport, there was much crowds. There was much security. The Taliban were saying that people were trying to escape were the slaves of the foreigners, that they are the slaves of the USA. They were doing gunshots and beating people and not controlling the crowds and treating them very badly. So I took my friend, who was a disabled painter with a wheelchair, and I took her first. Then I took my family to the buses who were escorting out of Kabul. It took us 3 days to enter Kabul airport. But the Taliban commanders at the checkpoints would not allow our buses. They were saying, you are taking your women, your children outside of Afghanistan. It means you are not Muslim and they are your wives, you are dirt. You will become prostitutes. They will become prostitutes and they will forget Islam. They will become kafir and you are kafir and will all have to be killed. So go back to your home. Otherwise, you all will be killed. But they are not killing me. That's enough. Tamamsh. We spent 72 hours inside the buses. There were 265 people. all divided in these 5 buses. We spent 72 hours discussing the Taliban, dealing with them, talking with them, and trying to persuade them to let us inside the airport. We tried lots of options. We even had to do little hand-to-hand to help us to get inside the airport. In exchange, he wanted us to help him and some of his friends be on our list so they could leave Kabul as well. So we accepted the deal that we are going to put you on the list, but you have to help us in crossing checkpoints and reaching the American checkpoint where we could be inside Kabul airport. But the Taliban noticed that their own people also wanted to escape Afghanistan. So they completely blocked our buses and they don't let anyone escape that night. Tomorrow, again, we went back to the commander of the checkpoint and finally had to pay bribes to the Taliban. The Taliban who says they are helping the people. The Taliban who say they are Muslim. The Taliban who say we are harmless people. They ask for bribes, 600 euros per person to allow us inside Kabul airport. So finally, after 72 hours with women, children, old women, old men, inside the buses, standing, we were able to enter the Kabul airport. After Kabul airport, or after passing Taliban checkpoint, we reach American checkpoint. There were American forces giving directions. And after getting searched, we enter the airport around 9 p.m. and it was 6 a.m. when we finally reached the final checkpoint of American forces. But we sat there because now there was a suicide attack in the crowd around Kabul airport. And I think 1 or 2 Americans were also killed in that suicide attack. So the American soldiers were behaving very, very badly with all these people that had been standing on a bus for 3 days. The American soldiers are shouting and even trying to beat people. I was very surprised by seeing the Americans do such things. I thought we were escaping Taliban. But inside Kabul airport, I saw like American Taliban, American soldiers who were abusing the same, like Taliban, shouting at the people. Personally, I was a writer and a filmmaker. I had to carry my laptop and notebook with me, and they were not allowing it. They said, we can just go with 1 clothes. For me, my laptop and hard drives were the important things. On them, I had all my work and activities for about 15 years. So they were going around with guns, breaking laptops, and they were fighting and they were beating. And finally, I took my broken laptop with me. If I must fight with them, I don't care. I took my laptop, I take it with me, but the odds are, even if it is broken, the hard drive still works. So from 5 hard drives, I could only take 1 of them. And it was like I was a thief, how I took it inside. Not like a person who has rights. And this was a very disappointing issue for me. seeing Americans doing the same as the Taliban. If Taliban wasn't already assaulting us, calling us slaves of Americans, now we have to be assaulted by Americans who talk like, I'm going to USA. They say, you must be human, you bastards. Do not be shit. Do not be donkeys. Now the Americans were saying this to us. We have to be human. And all these things they were saying with bad words, with loud sounds and shouting and bad behavior. Finally, at 7 a.m., we were huddled inside the American military airplane. There were 5 airplanes in the airport, and I think we were the last people. Yes. It was the 28th of August. We got to the airplane, and in the airplane, it was like we were sheep. We were all in the airplane like sheep, with no facilities, no toilet. In my life, I've had the experience of visiting the USA in 2010, 2011, and 2017, and I've never seen such a thing. Travel in an airplane from one country to another country, like cows, like sheep, like animals. From Kabul, we went and we reached Saudi Arabia. And there, at the American base in Riyadh, we spent another 2 days. And of course, the behavior of Americans was now changing from bad to good. The soldiers in Riyadh were calm and they were nice to kids, providing the toys to kids. I had to leave my home for my family. They deserve to have good life. They deserve to experience life. My son is about 12 years. I have 4 kids, 3 sons, 1 daughter, 12, 8, 3, 10 months. 4 children is too much, I think. Whenever they had a plan to come back from Afghanistan, the American generals, they had the plan A, plan B, plan C, but with the evacuation, they just had one plan, Kabul airport. That made me confused. How can I believe that they never thought about the situation, that it would be like that there was no second option? Around Afghanistan, they had more airfields, at least 3 inside Kabul, but for evacuation, they just had one place, Kabul airport. That make me wonder why they don't think about this. I've had experience of working with Americans. I couldn't believe American military, American generals were stupid like this. I don't believe it. And now it is my 3rd day. I'm in Hamburg. And I left Kabul on this September 28th. And I am finally in a safe place, in a new apartment I call my home. But I am not sure if it is my home or not. I am still feeling I am not arrived where I want to be. I am thinking I am in an airplane flying from one country to another country and one country to another. Even when I'm sleeping, I feel like I'm in an airplane. Eventually, I don't know where I will end up. After I left Kabul, there was nothing in my hands. I don't have control of my whole life. It's others who are deciding for me. I don't know what they will decide for me. If you tell my story, it's good not to mention my name. You could give me a name like Traveler. After doing this, I want to come to the USA because I want to talk to Americans, talk with the soldiers, share the stories with the nations. I want to appreciate the support of the nations and create long-lasting relationships. If I have the chance, I will come. I am no longer controlling my life. Others are deciding about me, deciding what will I do. Refugee. It is my new name.